Hello and welcome everyone. We have recently started using a different build in our tier 10 escalations. You guys in stream have been loving it, and we did a video yesterday on the channel that's showing you our new strategy with the new build implemented. We talked through all the builds we use. We showed you some gameplay. Today there's no gameplay. I just wanted a standalone video because so many of you asking in stream. I don't actually use this, so I've got no gameplay of myself using it. Rick's been using it, Lady Rock's been using it, other people have been using it, but I know you guys are asking what the build is, so it's easy for me to put a command in chat and let you guys just come and watch the video rather than answer it 100 times while we're streaming. So that is that video. Unfortunately, I will link I'll link a video in the video description of gameplay of us doing this. You won't see me doing it, but you'll see gameplay of the strategy and how this build affects what we're doing in the description if you want to go and watch it, or tune into any of the streams. We're streaming all the time. We're currently using this build, so this video is just to go over this build. I had to get it out. Sorry about that. So many people are complaining when there's no gameplay, but there's no gameplay. But this is the build because you're asking for it. You're asking what it is. So this build was made for tier 10 escalations, and the idea came when we did Army Terminal for the first time and got our asses handed to us. We're like, I said we needed a different strategy. We needed some more crowd control. We needed a different build to make it easier. So we've been working on this since then. It's only recently we put it together, and it's worked very, very well. The idea of the build is crowd control, and that's it really, and giving you DPS extra damage. So we use 4-piece future initiative on this build. The mask with status effects, chest piece with status effect, holster with status effect, and gloves with status effect. So status effect on all 4 of the future initiative pieces. You can see it's got Trapper as the augment for increased status effect duration. That's on every single piece where we can put it. And as for the mod slots, you want skill haste. So 4 pieces of future initiative. The knee pads are the grease shiny monkey gear knee pads. These have the status effect perfect attribute. It's got repair skills there, because I was thinking about something else when I was putting this build together for Lady Rock. However, you want skill haste there, not repair skills. And skill tier across the board. Obviously, we don't need everything to be skill tier. 1 piece can drop skill tier if you want to. You could go weapon damage or armor. It'd still be 6 skill tier if you did that. Do whatever you want. I don't think it's that important. We just kept Lady Rock's here as all skill tier, in case we want to make changes in the future or use the pieces for something else. We'd rather have skill tier on them. As for the backpack, you're going to be using the Acosta's Go Bag. The Acosta's Go Bag, the reason for this is because when you throw a grenade, you'll overcharge yourself. You can do that every single 60 seconds, and that grenade will be refunded when you throw it. So you'll always have grenades if you use it every 60 seconds. And not only that, it gives you more status effects as well, which is pretty cool. Now, what we're going to use with this in terms of specialization is the gunner, because the idea of the build is at the start of every area we're going to throw a grenade out, overcharge ourselves with this build, and then we're going to use an overcharge banshee to hit as many enemies as we can. With an overcharge banshee, what that's going to do is give it 150% cone size. You also get some more disorient duration, and the charge speeds up very, very quickly, and it gives you DPS guys 15% extra damage to the pulse targets while the overcharge is active, so up to 15 seconds of extra damage for your DPS guys. And that's basically the idea of the build. At the start of every area, just throw that grenade, do the overcharge banshee, and try and hit every spawn after that with a banshee, even when it's not overcharged. The effect duration right now is 16.6 seconds. That's going to go up to about 23-24 seconds once Trapper is all upgraded, and if it's overcharged, it's even longer. And the secondary skill is a shock trap, so while you're doing your banshees and your overcharge banshees, you'll be throwing your shock trap out on spawns or around the area to add further crowd control to enemies that run into it. If you do an overcharge, it's good to hit the banshee and throw an overcharge shock trap out, because an overcharge shock trap is insane. It covers such a wide range. But yeah, that's the build we're using for the crowd control element. I know a lot of you will be saying, well, crowd control is useless in escalation because of how the mutators work. The thing is, crowd control is very good until you start doing damage to enemies. When you start doing damage to enemies, they will lose the status effect, and you can't do any more status on them. But the idea of this is that you're going to control like whole spawns or whole areas, and while you're shooting at one enemy, no other enemy is shooting at you. So you only have to deal with that one. And if your DPS is hitting hard enough, which is why we're feeding more damage into the DPS for future initiative, if they hit hard enough, they will kill that enemy very quickly. It's only like the tanky enemies with the tanky mutator they're going to cause any problem at all. Everything else will die very, very quickly. So it works very very good. Crowd control still works in escalation if you're clever with it. Now, something else you could do on this build, which is something that Rick mentioned, which is very good. You can throw on something like an ACS 12, a stack broker, or not a lefty, but yeah, ACS 12, a stack broker, and you can throw on a talent called perpetuation. What this is going to do is if you get a headshot with it, you're going to get 75% status effect damage and duration to the next status effect you apply. Very handy with this build. Kind of what you're aiming to do with that is at the end of an area, when you know it's the last spawn, get this out, try and get a headshot before the last enemy dies. Then when you go into the next area, you're going to have that 75% increase in duration on that Banshee that you do. So as if it wasn't long enough, you're going to increase the duration even more. You want to get to a habit of that. So start the area with an overcharged Banshee, do other Banshees on spawns, throw your shock trap out. Then at the end of an area, try and get the headshot. So when you start in the next area, you've got even more status effects and duration. And that's pretty much it. Now, this season, you obviously have these modifiers you can use. Next season, they'll be different. This is future-proof, this build. But if you are using it this season, some great modifiers. You could go optimize overload, so you got an additional overcharge if you need it or if you want it. It's not needed, though. And then in terms of your modifiers, I didn't change these on Lady Rock's build. They're set up for the refactor build, but you could go as much status effect as possible. Under utility, convert to will give you more status effect. So if you wanted to, you could go convert to, you could then go compress, and then maybe invert. I'm not sure how. I honestly don't know what the best combination would be, but if you start with convert to and then work out whatever the best ones are to be to get the most status effects instead of skill damage is what you'd want to aim for. Not important though, nothing we've been doing. We've been trying to test this without the modifiers, in all honesty, to make sure it's future proof for once this season is over, because we don't want this to only be for this season, and it works an absolute treat. So this is the build we are currently using. I did do a longer video yesterday with the full strategy and more builds we're using if you want to go and check that out. But again, if you want to see gameplay of this, we are streaming this pretty much every single day. This is the build we're using. I will link a video in the video description of a run that we've done in Tier 10 Escalation where this has been being used, so go and check that out if you want to. But we call it our FI crowd control build. Yeah, it works. We had the idea months ago. We finally put it together, and it absolutely works a charm. It's so good. It's making our Tier 10 escalations much easier. From the DPS point of view as well, because I'm the DPS, having the refactor, having this, having all that crowd control, like, it just feels so easy. You've still, obviously, still Tier 10 escalation, right? There's still that risk. You've still got to be on it. There's still that one ad that can wipe a whole team if you miss it. But yeah, I am not spending as much time hiding. I am now pretty much face tanking enemies and just shooting my gun as much as possible. It's really good. Really good. So I hope you like this build. Again, we made this video because of everybody's asking in stream, so I can just link you to the video. You can have a quick look on how it's used. But for all the gameplay, watch the streams, check the video description for more videos. We're uploading all the time, and as the strategy progresses, we'll be sure to share more. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.